So let's look at this lesson 10 assignment, create a flowchart of file compression processing. In this assignment, you are given a Visio file that is a flowchart. You also have a PDF of the same flowchart. Let's take a look at the PDF. It should open easier, and you should be able to see this flowchart. So let's see if I can get it. There we go, where I can see the whole thing. Whenever we start reading a text file, we're going to have specific requirements that we have to do. And this flowchart matches up with the code in your textbook for reading a text file. And so we'll be implementing this code next time. But for this time, let's consider the flowchart of it. We start and we set a string to be the name of the file that we want to process. Then we create the file.
So does that actually create the file? Like it just makes it on your computer?
Yeah. So you're actually creating that file on your computer in that folders you told it to go to. So this is the file. This icon, this kind of sideways cylinder, indicates a file in a flowchart. So our flowchart, we say we create the file. Here it is. It's our text file that's been created. I'm going to use this on-page connector to continue on with my flowchart up here at the top instead of making the line go crazy. Now, in the code, you'll see that they have a collection called call signs. So we have this collection, and we're going to go into a loop. And as long as we have call signs to process, we're going to write them to the text file. So is there another call sign? Yes, write it to the text file. So our text file gets updated. We'll return to our for each loop to see if there's another one. If there is, we'll write it to our text file, and our text file will be updated. We'll keep doing that loop as long as we have items in this collection of strings. When we have no more, we'll follow our no path, close our text file, and then we'll write the contents of that text file to the console. So as we start looking at the code, you'll see that we're going to be following this flowchart view. I wanted to show you this now in case somebody was wanting to work on the assignment. Let me close this. The assignment will be to take this flowchart or start from scratch and draw a flowchart that illustrates the algorithm that's required to process a compressed stream. Now that algorithm is given on page 314 and 315 of your textbook. So how can you create your own flowchart? Well, there's two ways. You can use Visio that's been downloaded from the Microsoft Azure site, the same site where you downloaded Visual Studio, and install it on your computer. Let's run Visio here and see what that's like. If you install Visio on your computer, you'll have the full product. And if you wanted to start from scratch with a new flowchart, you would just choose the correct template when you start up Visio. If you want to open the file I gave you, you would choose open and open that file from wherever you downloaded it to. But let's start with a flowchart. We're going to say, oh, we want to do a basic flowchart. And it pops up and says, well, do you want to start with a blank piece of paper, or do you want to start with one of these pretty models? Well, let's start with a blank piece of paper. This blank piece of paper is what old school programmers had to work with before flowcharting software was available. They had to do it all on a piece of paper, graph paper. So here's my piece of paper. I don't know how many of you have used Visio before. You use it differently in different classes. So I want to show you really kind of quickly how to get efficient with it in case you haven't used it before. But the way Visio works, this was a great drawing product that some company created and Microsoft bought it and sucked them up and turned it into a Microsoft product. So now the menus and things work just like Word and all of the other Microsoft Office products. But since it's a drawing tool, over here on the left, we have shape libraries that we can use. Right now, the basic flowchart shapes library is open on my display because I said I wanted to do a basic flowchart. So if I wanted to start my flowchart, I would use this start end symbol and drag it out onto my piece of paper. Now I want to put the word start in there, so I'll double click it and type the word start. Now I've got that start icon. A lot of ways now that I can add more to my flowchart. Notice how if you mouse over it, Visio is giving you suggestions. It's got these little blue things that say, oh, would you like to create another shape? If you want to, I'll draw a line to it and drop the shape there in your drawing if you want to. Well, before I use that fancy tool, let's just grab a process shape from our shape library. I'm going to drag it onto my flowchart. Notice that I have lines that pop up that let me make sure I have it aligned with the other shapes. I'll put some words in here. Oops, I don't want the center of rotation. I'm going to double click on it to enter text. Text in the box. And now if I want a line to connect these two, I can click that blue arrow and it will automatically shoot the line down with the arrow to connect to that other shape. So I can do all sorts of flow charting. Here's my decision shape, and I can go draw a line down to it. With a decision, we could have a true action. Put a couple of boxes on here, process boxes. And we can have a false action. So we might need more than one line coming out of our decision diamond. We can do that. And then we can actually double click on the line to add text to it. So I could say, that's my no path. Double click on this line to be my yes path, or true and false, however you want to say it. And then I've got my flowchart started. So the flowchart that you're going to draw is going to demonstrate that algorithm to write out data to a compressed file. And you'll see that code. Now I'm going to save this. I would do File, Save, to save my Visio diagram.
That first assignment is just creating the flowchart.
Do creating a flowchart of it. So test will be a lot harder than it sounds. I'm going to save that Visio diagram. But then for the assignment, it says you have to turn it in as a PDF. So after you save your Visio drawing, and once it's done and you're ready to turn it in, you're going to choose File, Save As. And you're going to change the type from Visio drawing to PDF. And then save it. And that's the version that you'll turn in the assignment.
You want that in Canvas?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you lots of stuff. What if you don't want to install Visio on your computer at home? Well, we have an option for that too. If you don't want to install Visio, you can go to portal.office.com and log in using your OTC account. So I'm already logged in, but it says I have to do something. I'm going to click next on this additional step, and it's going to do my two-factor authentication, which you guys don't have to worry about. And I'll get my message with my code here. think it's gonna work.
Yeah, that's all.
It's trying to make sure I'm all up to date. Yep, that's right. Okay, so I want to find Visio here online. If I click the dots for all apps, I can choose all apps down here. And then in the all apps list in alphabetical order, you should be able to find Visio. Now, if you're using Visio online, you don't have as many templates available, but we still have a flowchart template available. It's fine. So the online version of Visio looks very much the same. You can move symbols or onto your flowchart, double click on them to add text. The thing about doing this project online is you don't have quite as many tools available to you as you do in the desktop version. But other than that, it should just be fine. So there's no reason for you to worry about downloading and installing Visio unless you really want to. Like I said, you'll use Visio for the system analysis and design class and the database class. But you don't need to install it for this class because this is the only assignment we're going to do. Now, I do need to give it a good file name. So I'll say test drawing. And that's going to automatically save this on the cloud. I'll do File, Save As, and I can save this wherever I want to, or download a PDF to turn in for the assignment.